Here we are again in the kitchen with the light that I recently installed. This currently has three 72 watts halogen bulbs, which are equivalent to 100 watt incandescent bulbs, and the brightness and the quality of light is excellent. However, when the light is dimmed down, it introduces a buzzing sound which goes away at full power. I don't know why this is. Some people allege this is normal, but I have the same bulbs in here. There's one of them right there, the exact same bulb, and there's no noise. So something is different in here and I don't know what it is. So I've opted to try these bulbs. These are the Philips A19 100 watt equivalent DEL replacement bulbs. These have all sorts of quality certifications in regards to the quality of light, the color rendering, the flicker, etc. And these are very well respected among people that like lighting. So we'll see if these are any good. Now, I do not have an intrinsic opposition to LED lighting. I have an opposition to poor quality lighting, and unfortunately, poor quality and LED are often synonymous. There do exist satisfactory LED light bulbs. These are very expensive. They cost about $10 a bulb, and I've tested something similar to these in the past, and it seemed like it could work. So now we're going to put these in here and we're going to see if they are in fact satisfactory, and hopefully they will not make any noise. Now, if they flicker, if the color of light is weird, if they don't dim properly, etc., they go right back to the store. But I'll give it a shot and see what happens. So just as a sample, this is what it looks like with the incandescent bulbs. Okay. Now I'll take this down again. I'm getting tired of taking this up and down. I don't like taking this up and down. It's very kind of flaky. Hopefully this will be the last time for a while, assuming that these DEL bulbs are deemed satisfactory. Now, we're not going to collect all the power information and all that stuff because I don't really care. I'm not interested in that right now. I just want to see are the lights satisfactory. So these are the snow cone type, which I don't really like, although I have found some of these to be okay. Pretty much the same size, slightly bigger, maybe let's see, maybe a 1/4 inch bigger, longer, and they do have some weight to them. Well, let's see what we got here. Well, I have to admit, that's pretty good. It's not quite as warm as the incandescent, but it is very closely following the color as it gets brighter and dimmer. Now, looking directly at it, which of course is not something that you should really do, I do find the LED bulb to be harsher than the incandescents. However, it's worth noting that because the LED bulb is directional, that might be not a placebo, but like an accurate perception, because the incandescent is shining light all over the place, whereas the LED is shining it directionally. So it might turn out to be that it appears brighter or harsher because of that directional effect. So let's see here. I don't detect any kind of flicker. The motion looks good. Yeah, I don't see any flicker at all. And it's quiet. Yep, no flicker, which is important because the flickering bothers me. The dimming spectrum is not as easy to use as the incandescent. Like this is about 70% and it's pretty much the same brightness, and now it starts going really quickly. That's 65%. That's 50% on the switch. And this is an LED rated switch, so I don't want to hear no garbage in the comments about the dimmer being the wrong kind. Actually, that's more than 50. That's 50% and it's almost off. It's not bad. I probably end up running it somewhere around there. And I really don't see anything going on that's too crazy. I don't detect any flicker. Well, we're going to give it a shot. We're going to install it. I'm going to give it a valid run. And we'll check back in a couple days, or probably one day will be enough. If I sit in here tonight with this light on, I'll be able to tell right away if it's a problem. We got two more of these bulbs that we'll put in here. I wish these were filament bulbs, because we might find that inside the fixture it looks a little weird, but we'll see. Alright, they're all working. They're quiet. I don't hear nothing. Alright, let's get the shade back on there. Alright, so it doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty much the same. I definitely don't see any flicker. Yeah, I think that's probably where I'd run it, and it looks pretty normal. I'm going to turn off the rest of the lights in the room here, and let's see what it looks like by itself. I have to admit, this dimming thing is pretty cool, that it's able to replicate the color temperature of incandescent as it dims. That's pretty neat. Yeah, this is not bad. This is fairly pleasant. I'm really not detecting any flicker. It is a little harsh, but it's extremely bright. You know, it's a 300 watts light. You're not going to look at a 300 watt light. Duh. It'll break your eyes. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Let's see if there's any banding on the camera. If we zoom right in on there, does a band appear? No. I don't see any banding on the camera. Turn it up all the way. There might be something in there, I see. Might be a real slight banding. Let's put it right up to the bulb itself. Yeah, there actually is banding. Huh. That's a little surprising. Yep, there's a band, and it's actually pretty big. Interesting. Yeah, there is totally banding on the camera. It's not anywhere near as bad as others that I've tested. Let's see if we tone it down, what happens to the banding. That's interesting, it went away. So it works better when it's dim than at full blast. So, as I said before, I do find it a hair harsh at full brightness. And it's probably because it has a bit of a refresh rate to it. But with this at this brightness, this is fine to me. Alright, well I think we'll go then. And I'll see if it doesn't work out over the next couple weeks. If I find that it flickers or induces a headache, I will I'll update another video, but I think this might work. Let's see if they're instant on. Seems to be. I think this switch is electronic and has a slight delay to it, because I noticed even with the incandescent it wasn't perfectly instant on, which is kind of odd, but it is what it is. Actually, there's one more thing I want to test before we end the video, and that is how does this respond to a hydro appliance starting up. Didn't notice anything considerable there. Let me try to grab something on the same circuit. Alright, we're connected to the same circuit now. Let's see what happens. Don't notice any flicker there either, so I think this will work. It's a couple days later, and I have removed the LED bulbs and I have replaced them with good old incandescent. I replaced them with these 40-watt Sylvania ceiling fan bulbs. So the LED bulbs I was unable to use, which is typically what happens with LED bulbs. I had them on full brightness while I was cooking dinner that night, and it was great. I could see the food real clearly, everything was fine. I felt that the light was kind of harsh if I looked right at it, but most of the time you don't look right at a light, so I kind of ignored that. Got through cooking the meal, everything was fine. Later on in the evening I was cleaning up the kitchen, I was working on the computer at the table over here, and when I was in here for some time, and I had it dimmed down pretty low, and every time I would glance up at the light, I had to my eyes just kind of squinted, and it was like, oh, that's kind of harsh. And sure enough, over the course of the time I was in the kitchen, which might have been an hour and a half or so, I started to develop a headache. And even not looking directly at the light, just with the light in my field of view, which is most of the time you're in the room, it was bothering my eyes. So at the end of the day, I can't use those bulbs, which I don't understand why, because there was no visible flicker that I could see, and although in the camera we did see a small band go across the screen at full brightness, but when it was dimmed there wasn't even any effects on the camera. So I think when it was dimmed there really truly was no flicker, but yet I seemed to be more bothered by it dimmed than at full brightness. So maybe there's some other aspect of LED lighting that my eyes are sensitive to and it's not flicker. I don't know. But most of the time, that's what I find with LED bulbs. There's a harshness to them, or there's the flicker which bothers my eyes, or whatever it is that bothers me. Something about LED lighting I simply cannot use. And we go through this over and over again. I used the bulbs, I gave them a fair shot, and it kind of stinks because I really wanted to like them. They were super bright at full brightness. They dimmed down the same color as Incandescent, which is really cool. If I didn't get the headache, I would have been completely satisfied with them, but I got the headache, which is what typically happens when I'm under LED lighting. So that's it. They're done, gone. Not using them. Not going to have lighting in my house that gives me a headache. That's stupid. So then we go back to the halogen problems with that sound, which I don't quite understand because I have the same halogen bulbs in the living room and there's no sound. I've used those bulbs with the X10 controllers dimmed down for years at the old location. There was no sound. And then with this dimmer there's a sound. So I almost want to say it's something with this dimmer. But it's a whole other mess. So I opted to try, well actually what I first did, I took the halogens out and I put in this 40 watt appliance bulb. This is a bulb you can still purchase today. It's an appliance bulb. You can still buy appliance bulbs. And the filament is secured in multiple places. This particular bulb looks like it has 5 studs that holds the filament. So I thought maybe this would be quieter, or perhaps because this is true incandescent as opposed to halogen, maybe it would be quieter. I put this bulb in and it was absolutely silent. So then I went to the local grocery store which sells these bulbs, and I bought 2 boxes of these, which inside are pretty much the same thing. In fact, they cost down to the penny the same thing as the appliance bulbs, so I'm pretty sure they are exactly the same. But so I got these, I put these in the light, and they are quiet. They do not give me a headache. I can stare at the light for 10 minutes and not feel a thing. Not that that's a good thing to do, but these work fine. And this is kind of a win all around because these are true incandescent. They're not even halogen. These are true incandescent bulbs. You can't get any better quality of light than that. And these are still available for purchase. They likely will be for a long time, and they're economical. This box of 2 was only $3 and change, and it wasn't $3.99, it was less than that. So this is a great solution. I do wish I could get 100 watt or 75 watts because at full brightness, although it is definitely serving its purpose, it's nothing like those LED bulbs were in terms of brightness, or the halogens. Actually, the halogens and the LEDs were pretty much the same brightness. It's nothing like the 100 watt bulbs, of course, because it's less than half. This is only 120 watts in total, whereas before it was 300 watts in total, so it's almost a third of what it was. And in fact, I can pretty much use it all the way up, and it's still not even uncomfortable to look at, but I typically set it about halfway down, and that kind of blends it in nicely with everything else. So I tried LED, couldn't do it, so we're back to the incandescent. And since those are supposed to be some of the best LED bulbs, and even those didn't work, I pretty much give up with the LED. I'm perfectly content with the incandescent, so might as well just keep using them. I'll gladly pay to run something that works better. No problem with that at all.